Coming up next on Shots from the Hip, we're going to talk about my Oz Davis's amazing revelation that I had in this first week after football. That revelation is there's a lot of sports out there. We'll talk about several of them coming up next on Shots from the Hip.
Welcome to Shots from the Hip podcast. Brought to you by Royal Retros on the Shotgun Sports Network. Here are your hosts, Jason Bizik and Oz Davis.
God, that groove. I just get into it and then it ends. Just get into it and then it ends. Just boom.
Well, that's why you got to listen straight through to the podcast. You got to listen to the whole podcast because that way you get the person at the end. You get the whole thing at the end.
Hey, hipsters watching on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel or listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notification bell to be notified when we post this show or any other videos. Welcome to episode 6. I just took a couple NyQuils because, as you may be able to tell by my voice, I have had a cold or something all weekend. So if I doze off mid-episode, that's why.
Well, I'll try and keep it exciting for you. How about that?
How you been?
Fine. Just working too much. Sick of winter. All of you that are in warm climates, I am very jealous of you.
A couple of our colleagues right now down in Mexico. Shout out Scout and Catherine,
nice.
Having a little holiday. Just today, it started blizzarding here, so we're getting some winter after a couple weeks of really nice weather. How's your weather there?
Over here in CEE, we had 2-3 days where it was like maybe 50, and then bam, like snowing again. It's so funny because I hadn't been living in Budapest for about 9-10 years, and I came back, and people are telling me, "Oh yeah, it doesn't snow in Budapest anymore, because of climate change, because of global warming." And then I swear to God, that first winter, 2023, when I was here, it snowed like bam, bam, bam 3 times in 2 weeks. And that was it. However, this winter is like good old days. This is like, it's snowing about once a week, twice a week. And, if you live in the city, that's a bummer. Because it turns to slush really quick and you don't have so much snow as like water, cold water that you step in, stuff like this. So I'm sick of it. I'm sick of winter already. I forgot how much I hated winter when I was living in Southern California. My gosh, you forget all about the winter. But I was actually thinking about this time of year in regards to the football schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow the CFL and the NFL, from June to February, pretty much, you are focused. I mean, this is taking between 90 and 100% of your sports viewing time. And wow, this past week, my God, with no football, I mean, I'm watching. You know what I usually don't get into until like May is college softball. But I caught some college softball this weekend. I saw Duke versus it was Oklahoma State in the Clearwater Invitational. The weather is nice in Florida, dude, right now. And, so I was watching some of that. I was watching some of the Six Nations rugby.
Mm-hmm.
And for any rugby fans out there, Jesus, France is a beast this year. France is ridiculous. They're annihilating teams. One of the wild things, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but in rugby, after you score, it's touchdown in American football. I forget what they call it in rugby. But after
they call it a try, don't they?
Yes. Yes,
think.
that's a try. That's a try,
I
right? And
think.
then the other thing is a kick, I guess. And so, okay, so you score the try, and then there's a kickoff. But the team that scored gets the ball again. That's the vicious thing. That's the vicious thing about rugby. So you get these matches where it's like, New Zealand versus Japan. And the score is like, 92-0 or something like this. It's like, it's nuts. It's nuts. One of these times when we do a movie, we'll have to do Invictus, which is a movie about the first integrated South African rugby team. It's got Matt Damon and Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela. So that's directed by Clint Eastwood, in fact, which is pretty wild. You wouldn't expect Clint Eastwood to direct a rugby film. But yeah, we'll take a look at that one sometime in the future on Shots from the Hip.
So France is a beast in rugby.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you watched any Olympic hockey over the last week, but Canada just beat France 10-2 in hockey. So France is not a beast in hockey.
Yeah. No. In fact, okay, so let's just do free for all. Let's start with the Winter Olympics because I watched a heck of a lot of Winter Olympics. I'm watching stuff I'd never watched, like snowboarding. Some of that stuff is wild.
Yeah.
An interesting thing tends to happen in the Olympics, right? Is okay. So you go into a sport like snowboarding, right? You go, I don't know anything about this, but it's interesting. Let me watch, right? About a week later, you're an expert. Right? About a week later, you're going, oh no, that wasn't nearly as good as the Chinese guy, or whatever. It's pretty funny. But this happens every time the Olympics are on. People turn into these experts in like 7 days. It's great. So watch snowboard.
Then by the time the next Olympics come around, you've forgotten again. You're like, how do they do this?
Of course. Oh yeah, it's amazing. 3.5 years, 3.5 years at a time. Americans completely forget about curling. And then the Winter Olympics comes on, and everybody's like, wow, curling is awesome. And then they completely forget about it. Probably because football, basketball, hockey are sucking away all the attention again, right? Like I'm just experiencing right now. I saw the curling, and at one point, the news was reporting that the Americans upset the Canadians, right? And I was thinking, wow, the only times you hear that expression are for hockey and politics. Here in any other context. So I watched a bunch of curling, of course, and it was outrageous because I was watching the curling on BBC. Apparently Britain has a very good team this year. They destroyed Germany in a game that I watched. And so they're sitting there playing, and when they do curling, they have like 3 or 4 games going on at the same time, and it's like a bowling alley, right? You just have these iceways like lined up next to each other. So we're watching the British-German match, right? And this guy's rolling it, whatever. And then all of a sudden you hear USA, right? Because America is playing on the next lane over. And so every so often they break out with USA like this. And the British announcers going, yes, well, that's the American fans. It's great. It was great. I caught some of the women's hockey, and I'll tell you who's a beast in women's hockey are the Americans. They took out Italy like 6-1 or something like this. It's some crazy score. And but I don't know. I don't know what your opinion is on women's hockey, but I feel like it's a different game, isn't it? It looks a lot more like ice soccer. Hockey. Women's
ice soccer.
Hockey. Yeah, women's hockey.
Oh, women's hockey.
Hits. Yeah, there's no hits. Right. So
sorry, your connection cut out for a second, so I didn't hear you say hockey. But yes, it's different. It's definitely different.
Yeah, it's weird. It took. I don't know. I couldn't get used to it. I'm so used to seeing the contact hockey. right? Which is basically what women's hockey is. It's like non-contact hockey, right? So I don't know. And even in field hockey, there's some contact. But I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
wonder
it's a
why. I
it's
wonder
a
why.
weird looking game.
I wonder why they play without contact.
I don't know. Afraid of injuries.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
because you can
know.
get going pretty fast on the ice. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I just wanted to get back to curling while you mentioned it because I'm not sure if you saw. Did you see the big heated exchange between Canada and I think it was Denmark, maybe?
no, no. What
There,
happened?
there was a there. Well, there was controversy because Team Canada, when they're throwing their stones, after they released the stone, the guy was nudging it with his finger,
Yes,
and and
yes,
apparently after you release the handle, you cannot touch the
yeah,
stone.
yeah,
And there was a big hoo-ha about it. I mean, the Canadian guy told the other guy
yeah.
to fuck off and all kind of, it was intense. It was
Wow.
intense.
Yeah, this happened in the Britain Germany match that I watched too. It was like
Oh,
the dude's just about to deliver the stone, and then all of a sudden the ref comes out, right? And he's like, "Oh no, 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 touching," or whatever they call that. And
oh,
so what you do is you replace the stone. I guess if you didn't knock one off, you just get to put another one back on. You put it
oh,
on that front line. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
geez.
yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it was wild. And so apparently, like, I guess what they were saying on BBC is that there's only one head judge for all the matches that are going
Okay,
on, right? So he's just kind of floating. Right? So
right.
these guys, you can get away with that extra touch, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on now, listen to us. We're sitting here talking about the strategies of curling. This is what the Winter Olympics will do to you, man. Uh, but yeah, so
Yeah.
apparently that was probably part of it. And speaking of Denmark, I was thinking, man, somebody in the on the Olympic committee, on the scheduling committee, has a real sick sense of humor because the men's hockey ended with USA versus Denmark. You know,
Ah.
come on now. Come on, who set that up? It's like Jesus, and you got the USA fans going USA during this game. Oh my God, the Danes must have been hating life. They must have just hated that. Oh my God. Um, so, okay. What are your impressions of the hockey? Are we headed for the America Canada final? And I did want to say that kudos to Finland. Finland did not make the quarterfinals. However, they did beat Scotland in the pool play. And I will tell you this. I've met Finnish people, I've met Swedish people. Okay. These
Mhm.
countries shut down whenever there is a national level hockey match. We're talking like 14-year-olds. Okay. If Sweden is playing Finland, everybody will be watching this game. It's wild. This is one of the unknown rivalries to most North Americans in sports is Finland, Sweden, and hockey. So Finland, they won their Super Bowl, as we say in the States, by beating Sweden early on. Unfortunately, they did not make the quarters, as I see. But do you think it's going to come down to USA Canada?
I mean, I think it will, and I'm glad that Finland and Sweden beat the crap out of each other in that game. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
so
group
I
was
think
vicious. Yeah.
I do think it'll come down to Canada and the U.S. and same with the women's hockey. Like right now, it's Canada versus U.S. I believe Canada won today, so I think that lines up Canada versus U.S. And I
Uh-huh.
posed a question on social media. I said, do any of these other countries ever plan on becoming competitive in hockey anytime soon? Like women's hockey is always Canada, US, and everybody
Yeah.
else just seems to be swept under the rug.
Well, I mean, it's a similar thing in women's soccer, right?
Mm,
I mean, the US has been dominating for forever, and it's like only recently have they been suffering upsets. It's kind of
mm,
like, if you think about it, this happens in sport, right? I mean, how long did the USA dominate basketball in the
mm,
Olympics, right? I mean,
mhm.
there was a point, I mean, weren't they something like 86-0 in Olympic matches before the Soviet Union finally beat them in 72? It was some crazy number like that. Or there were 86-1 going into 88, something like that. But this can happen. This can happen. One country just completely dominates a sport, and you wait for the rest of the world to catch up. The other thing to consider too is that the Winter Olympics are pretty exclusive.
Mhm,
I mean, what are you talking about? You're talking about Europe and Canada and the US.
mhm.
That's who plays in the Winter Olympics. So your possibilities are much smaller. Soccer is a bit of a mystery because everybody plays soccer. Now,
Mhm.
very often this has been a lad's game, but still, you'd think there would have been enough time at this point and enough money at this point. Hockey, you can kind of understand why. I don't know why Sweden doesn't have a better team in hockey.
Yeah.
Uh, those girls tend to be big, and I'm sure they know how to skate, and they probably play hockey in Sweden. So I don't understand why that national team isn't better. Russia, I mean, I'm surprised they don't have a better women's hockey team. Uh,
Oh. Well, I
but it's
mean,
Russia.
Russia's not in the Olympics, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right. Yeah, but still, they're not as competitive as you would expect when they do
yeah.
play. They're not
Yeah.
for some reason. It's
Yeah.
pretty wild. I mean, you probably because in Russia they play full contact women's hockey. If anybody plays full contact women's hockey, it's Russia. So maybe that's why they can't play this Olympic game. Just a theory. Just a theory.
Oh, maybe you're onto something there.
Yeah, I have no insight into Russia, actually, Russian sports. I can't say for sure, but knowing Russian people, I would not be surprised.
So besides Olympics, I assume you've been watching some NBA.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Well, now is the time to get into it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this is what has become of the NBA. They have this advantage that baseball does not. Whereas, okay, the season is so damn long, right? And after opening day, maybe after the first home game, maybe after the first weekend, the interest in basketball for the average fan drops off, right? It just does. And you go back to what? NFL football or CFL football in some cases,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Traditionally, what has happened is that they set this All-Star game after the Super Bowl. And the All-Star game is not the midway point. Teams are about 60% done with the schedule. And so most people are bored after the Super Bowl is done. They get into the All-Star game, which is always terrible. But then it's all for most teams, for 20 out of 30 teams, it's balls to the wall the rest of the way. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes for some really nice basketball. And that's when you get, for example, coming up in March is, Philadelphia versus the Celtics on national TV, stuff like this. So this is the time to get into the NBA. Now, I will say this. I think I was the last fan of NBA All-Star games, right?
Okay.
And even I was out when they had that one game that was like 211 to 182 or something like this. It's just like, I love the All-Star game for the dunks, for the flashy plays, right? For the feeds, all this stuff, right? I do love it for that. But 211 to 182, that's out of hand. That I'm watching guys practice at that point, right? So but this year apparently is pretty exciting. I still haven't watched it. I can't be bothered. I will because I can on streaming. When I have time, I will. But okay. So What are we looking at going into the home stretch? All right, here's what I've got. A couple of off the court things first. There's the tanking controversy, where, for example, the Utah Jazz recently got fined for tanking. I mean, they're leaving out their only viable starters in the fourth quarter just to be bad, just to lose. And Commissioner Adam Silver had a press conference during the NBA All-Star weekend in which he was very terse, very like miffed, let's say, about this
Oh,
tanking situation. I mean, I don't know. To me, tanking doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense because you still have to go into the lottery. And last year we had the Dallas Mavericks, who were one of the better non-playoff teams getting the number one pick. I
oh,
mean, like, and this has happened more than once. The worst team rarely gets that first pick. And I don't believe that the field coming in is that great this year. So why would you do this? Who knows? It's cheaper, maybe cheaper to do that. Okay, so you can watch for the tanking epidemic. Okay, there's about 6 or 7 teams that are just not even playing anymore. All right, it's
hmm,
controversy. The other controversy is the Los Angeles Clippers, who are right here on the bubble. Um, I guess that the decision is going to be made on Kawhi Leonard. Now, I don't know if you've heard this story. So let me just repeat this for you, Jason, and for the audience. Okay. It was discovered that when he signed his most recent contract, Kawhi Leonard signed his most recent contract, that
hmm.
he had also signed a deal with this, I believe it's an environmental awareness company,
Oh,
also owned by Steve Ballmer, right? Owner of the team. And I guess what happened was is that Kawhi tweeted, I think, twice in a year and got paid something like $3 million, right? Which is excellent
oh,
work if you can get it. All of a sudden, Kawhi Leonard becomes the highest paid influencer, basically, in the
wow.
world, right? I mean, Markiplier, come on, man, he's blowing this guy away. so, this is roundly being seen as a way to skirt the salary cap. Of course, right? I mean, it seems to be a total scam. The NBA
Hmm.
has been really quiet on this. Kawhi Leonard, who famously rarely talks to the press, has not said a word about this. Steve Ballmer is being coy. Oh, I didn't know this was happening. This is his defense. This guy at my own company, I didn't know this was happening. And even though I set it up. And so apparently this decision is going to come into play pretty soon. Now, why is this important? First of all, the Clippers just they just traded away James Harden. And I'll talk about him. I'll make some snarky comments about that in just a moment. But they're on the bubble to make the playoffs. The Clippers are, and if they decide to penalize Kawhi Leonard, take him out for 20 games or something like this, that's the end of the Clippers once again. Once again, the Clippers face an ignominious end. This is the only franchise in the NBA, I believe, that has never seen a conference championship game.
Hmm.
You know, and they've been around for a long time. This is not the Charlotte Hornets, Bobcats, whatever it is. So, okay, that's the off-court stuff. Let's talk about the on-court stuff. The defending champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, still in first place in the West, but only second overall in the NBA, interestingly enough. But Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Canadian of fame, is still out. The defending MVP is still out. Um,
Oh,
Now, Oklahoma City is so loaded that they're able to stay afloat. However, just 2 games behind them are the San Antonio Spurs, who are looking a bit like, depending on how you choose to look at it, they're either looking like the Patriots of this past NFL season, or the Golden State Warriors when they first won the championship. This looks like a team that's about a year ahead of its time. However, they've already beaten Oklahoma City twice this year. Victor Wembanyama is rapidly becoming, if not the face of the league, certainly top 2 or 3 players in this league. The big surprise, Dylan Harper, their rookie guard, has been awesome. And De'Aaron Fox, who's been basically buried playing for Sacramento Kings out there for 7 years, I think, well, since 2017 when he got drafted. And people are realizing now, hey, he's a stud. He was in the All-Star game. He's awesome. I've been waiting for him for a long time. So San Antonio could be a surprise. However, also in the West, you have Denver in third place with Nikola Jokic, best player in the league, best player in the world, let's face it. After that, it's the Houston Rockets. And speaking of off-court controversies, hey, get back into the NBA with another Kevin Durant Twitter burner scandal. Apparently, once again, there is, I think this is the third time this has happened. Kevin Durant opened a burner account and started slagging off his teammates, his former teammates during the All-Star. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Just do a search, Kevin Durant tweets, burner tweets. And it's pretty wild. I mean, this is pretty unprecedented. Not so much the burner account, making yourself look good, but this dissing on your teammates like in mid-season. It's pretty wild stuff. This is your 4th place team in the West. They're still pretty good despite this kind of stuff. 5th place by Los Angeles Lakers, who have recently been without Luka Doncic. Apparently he's going to return pretty soon. It's pretty wild because in the last bit of the season so far, we've missed Doncic. We started the season without LeBron James, and at about the midway point of the season so far, we didn't have Austin Reeves. So maybe if we get all 3 of these guys back, we can score enough points, but we still can't play defense. But hey, the West is awesome this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. On the other side, basically, keep this as short as possible, the Detroit Pistons are tops in the league. Some of this, again, here's another team that's similar to the New England Patriots of this year. You don't want to say they have an easy schedule, but the East is not too strong this year, that Eastern side. But you got to love this team. This is a no-name team. Yeah, reminds me of that classic 2000s team that upset my Lakers in the final that year. Yeah, I shouldn't say they're no names. They had a couple of all-stars this year in the game, but they're leading the conference now. The intrigue here is in second are the Celtics. Now they're about 5.5 games back, but again, the Celtics. This is supposed to be an off year for them. Jason Tatum, one of their dynamic duo, along with Jaylen Brown, who are the leaders of the championship Celtics in 2024. They were on the team in 2022 when they lost to the Warriors in the finals. Jason Tatum's coming back. He's coming back any day now, which is pretty wild. He's coming back from an ACL. Now, if those 2 guys are on the court together, they're going to compete. It's going to be pretty wild to see the Pistons in the finals if the Celtics are playing with full roster. The Knicks are involved, of course. And for some reason, everybody in the NBA wants the Knicks to be in the finals. Stephen A. Smith, I caught Stephen A. Smith yesterday saying, "Oh yeah, this is the year. If they don't do it this year, forget it. Just blow it up." Basically, they're in the mix. Philadelphia Sixers are actually having a really great season that nobody expected. They're in the mix. Okay, so also in the mix are the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just acquired James Harden. Now, James has been great in the short term, of course, but this is kind of the pattern for James Harden. Looks good. He's been a good distributor and all, but this is James Harden, and I'm sorry, I can't imagine anything else besides a Cavaliers playoff exit. Sorry. I'm going to remain skeptical on James Harden until he proves it. It's been way too long. And this joke in the playoffs is classic. It'll be nice to bet that, though. It'll be nice to bet that. I'll take Cleveland minus the points right now in any elimination game. Now, I guess as an added bonus, well, I'll throw this in there too, because I'll get off the NBA roundup here in just a minute. But there are rumors coming out recently from sources in the know that say that LeBron does not want to play on the Lakers next year. So, LeBron and Harden in Cleveland next year? That's a possibility. That might be something to watch out for after the Cavs get eliminated in the playoffs this year. So that's your roundup for the NBA. I'll stop talking now. And, I know that for the general sports fan, we've all been focused on football, but hey, hoops, excellent stuff. Check it out. It will keep you entertained until June and CFL season. Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to go into the next thing because we actually do have some football.
Do we?
Well, not actual football, but off-field stuff, right?
That is true. Now, that is true.
Now, I guess we shouldn't get too deep into this. We should rather plug the Shotgun Sports Network show, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is this? Because all I heard was the Black Label version. I did listen to the whole thing, 2 hours of CFL free agency talk. Who's streaming this? Who's got this feed?
It can be found on the same YouTube channel that this show is on.
Okay.
It was done by the Elks Call.
Okay.
And it was, pretty much a 2-hour CFL free agency show where we discussed a lot of free agency stuff. Really nothing new has developed since the last time you and I talked. Not much has happened since then. Just glancing quickly over the list here, I don't know if these have been updated or not, but not many players have been signed in the last week. So as far as
where is Dominique Grimes? Where is Dominique Grimes?
I am looking at that right now, and I believe he is still a free agent. I believe it does not say that he. Yeah,
I don't get it. What has happened here? Did he get a bad doctor's report, or this one is continuing to baffle me.
It's tough. I think he's probably looking for more money, perhaps. I really don't know. That's just would be my best guess. Mm-hmm. And as far as I know, Dalton Schoen is still available from the Blue Bombers.
That's another one. That's another one.
It has me boggled, and I'm just looking really quick here to see if the Alouettes still have McLeod Bethel Thompson available. Is he still available? He is.
Oh, as far as I know,
as far as the CFL website says, anyways, we all know that they don't keep too up to date, but
nobody wants Bethel Thompson. He should be on a coaching staff, if anything.
We went definitely did a deep dive and went more in depth on that special. So if you're interested in all about CFL free agency stuff, head on over and watch that episode again by the Elks Call, presented by the Elks Herd on the Shotgun Sports Network, the same network here.
I did notes. So I would encourage everybody to listen to that show. But I just wanted to ask your opinion on a few things. Mm-hmm. Basically, I focused on 3 teams who I think had just basically the most movement. And I wanted to ask you, especially with regards to the show. Okay, now, in my opinion, and tell me what you think. In my opinion, probably the winners of the free agency were the Edmonton Elks. Do you agree?
Off the top of my head, I would have said Winnipeg because they made a lot of moves.
Really?
I think,
wow.
I don't retain a whole lot of information in my age these days and being sick with a cold, but I seem to think Winnipeg seemed to make a lot of moves.
I was just concerned about what Winnipeg lost.
Well,
Carrick Wheatfall to Hamilton, like, wow, really shocked me. I'm surprised. I
yeah,
mean, I guess
yeah.
it's a situation where Wheatfall wanted to be more a part of the offense, and Winnipeg just couldn't. The Winnipeg just couldn't accommodate him. But
Hmm.
then why is Schoen still out there? It seems to me
Yeah,
that
I don't. Yeah,
Peg should.
Demario Houston, they lost, I
Right.
guess.
That was
Yeah.
another one too. I wanted to bring that up. They lost him to Ottawa, for God's sake.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like, wow, what's going on there? So I don't know. I felt good about the Elks just because they addressed exactly the issues that they had to. They brought aboard Brendan O'Leary Orange, which has got to be, by the way, Brendan O'Leary Orange. This is the greatest Irish name ever. Seriously. I mean, this man is the flag. O'Leary Orange, fantastic. Okay, but anyway, I've been enjoying him since he came into the league. I think that's a great addition. I think Malik Carney from the Riders was a great ad for them. Joe Rubistelli, also from the Riders. The Riders got fairly well picked apart.
I was just looking at the Riders. They lost
Yeah.
Mario Alford, AJ Allen.
Yep.
Yep.
CJ Rivas. Rivas is gone.
Yeah, Malik Carney.
Jake Meyer, for what that's worth. Baldonado, the defensive lineman, is gone. I mean, many of these picked up by Ottawa. This traditionally happens to the Grey Cup champion, as we know. But yeah, this was the other thing, too. I wanted to ask you about this. Please talk me off the ledge. I'm already on the ledge. Is it June yet? As an Alouettes fan, I'm already on the ledge. The Tiger Cats added Carrick Wheatfall, Mario Alford, Curley Gittins, and Tyson Middlemost, mostly a special teams player, at receiver. Plus Lofton. Well, I guess Joe has mixed feelings about Eric Lofton at offensive line, and Wynton McManus, which is one of the top name signings of the whole free agency period. So I don't know. Are the Ticats going to be good? Tell me no.
Well, and they picked up, as we know, Trey Ford from Edmonton. So
yeah.
Going to be very interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
No. I felt like the Ticats had the most churn. I know on the show that the other show that the Elks Call show, that somebody commented that they thought the Ticats had taken a net minus. But the Ticats had the most churn of anybody besides maybe, surprise, surprise, Ottawa.
I think you're right. I see a lot of notes that say signed with another team, with another team.
Yeah. I mean, Brian Cole is gone. Greg Bell is gone, just to Ottawa alone. Jordan Murray off the line is gone. As I said, O'Leary Orange is gone. And they bring on 4 other wide receivers and Wynton McManus. So I don't know if Wynton McManus is going to be enough to save a very poor defense. So I guess that gives me hope as an Alouettes fan. But
now, one thing that shocks me looking through all these teams, one team that hasn't really lost anybody, at least not to any other CFL teams, is the Calgary Stampeders.
The Stamps, yeah.
They literally, I don't see anybody that has signed with another team. So really, the only losses so far are the 3 players going to the NFL.
Yeah. No, they had one because literally Ottawa picked up literally at least one player from every other team.
Oh, okay.
So Calgary lost somebody to Ottawa. It's great because I was thinking about this, ever since, pretty much ever since they've been in the league, with the exception of Burris being their quarterback, Ottawa has been an expansion team. And so here you go. This year, they're actually acting like an expansion team. They just took they took Eberhard from BC and Hunter from the Alouettes and Greg Bell from Hamilton and AJ Allen from Saskatchewan and Houston from Winnipeg. It's great. So they're basically just drafting in the expansion draft. So I guess that's all you can do in Ottawa. Ottawa was the other team I wanted to mention. Again, just the most churn, just throwing away players, picking up players. Can anything ever save the Red Blacks?
I believe they just didn't they just signed a big coach, I think. Didn't they steal a coach from somebody? Didn't
I don't know. Ottawa's a dead zone for me. I just in the CFL, my God.
Why do I seem to think that Ryan Dinwiddie went to Ottawa?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
mentioned
that's
that
what
on
I
the
thought.
show. Yeah. And on the Elks Call show, people were very optimistic about this. But again, I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
feel like Ottawa's digging out of a hole that's been there since Burris left again. And they're looking up at Montreal, who should be at least very competitive. And Hamilton, which may or may not be really good. I think Hamilton's going to score a lot of points this year again. I think the offense will be great again this year. But again, I don't see too many improvements on that defense.
Let me pose you this question. This was a question that was posed on the other show there, the free agency special. Each one of us was asked, who are you scared of this season?
In teams?
Yeah.
Okay, now what do you mean scared? Because if my answer is almost always Hamilton.
Okay.
As an Alouettes fan. But again, people are going to sleep on the Elks. I'm telling you, the Elks are going to make the playoffs. The Elks are going to win 11 games this year, I think. Saying this before the draft.
Damn.
Seriously. You got in football, you have to watch for that team that closes out the season well. Now, look, Edmonton has had issues. Every year they start the guy that's not the quarterback. They lose the first 7 games. They go 1-6, something like this, and then they turn it around. Well, this year they're going to start with Cody Fajardo. They gave him a couple more receivers to play with. Hopefully they'll buck up the line a little bit more because you can always use more help on the line. The truth is that this team is going to be all about the run game, which is awesome. Best run game in the CFL, even last year, and the passing game. Again, what would be nice right now, speaking from the far perspective, for a football point of view, Hamilton versus Edmonton could be an awesome Grey Cup. That'd be like 40-37 you could see in that Grey Cup. I really think people are sleeping on Edmonton really early.
Now,
we talked about this.
Now
if giving them a 5% chance.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, if you're a betting person, they have the longest odds to win the Grey Cup, as mentioned on our show last week.
Oh yeah. I mean, just think about that. You can turn 50 into 950 if you got an extra $50. You want to buy an Elks fan a Christmas present. Get them that bet. Get them that prop bet because that's value. That is a value bet right there. Now BC is pretty frightening. I mean, I think BC is going to be the Vogue pick. I think we've been waiting a long time for this ridiculous offense, this ridiculous offense to really come through and just wire to wire, just, really kick some ass. You got to be afraid of BC as any fan. But I think Edmonton's going to surprise. And of course, in the East, I'm afraid of Hamilton. Ho-hum. Maybe Bo Levy will retire. Maybe Minnesota. Maybe the Vikings will reconsider Bo Levy Mitchell. maybe they'll give him a shot at the starting job 3 years later, 4 years later, whatever it is. But yeah, I'm afraid of Hamilton.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But it's far out too. It's far out. We still have the draft. And the thing about the CFL draft is if you're drafted within the first 4 or 5 rounds, you will start. At least on special teams. You will start. You will be playing game 1. You will. Yeah. I mean, it's not like the NFL where you can bench guys or they're just not good enough to make the team or whatever. No. You need those Canadian players, right? So they're going to play. And then of course Calgary will draft the best guy in the draft, and he'll play 1 year, and then he'll go to the NFL. So just keep a lookout for that first round Calgary pick, because that's going to be a ringer right there. Happens every year.
You want to move on to
Sure.
discuss, debate, delete?
Yeah, let's do discuss, debate, delete. All right. Tell the listeners, what is this crazy thing that we do, Jason?
So each week we select 3 things for the other person to either discuss, debate, or delete. This week it is my turn to pick topics for Oz, which I have done, and these are they. Sports and entertainment ticket prices. Michael Phelps, greatest male athlete / Olympian ever. Or should the NFL season be moved earlier to avoid bad weather?
Okay. All right. Great bunch of topics. All right. I'm going to start with delete or defer, whatever we're going to call it this week.
All right, defer we were going to do.
Right. Yeah. Because, okay, I'm going to have it both ways. I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete Michael Phelps, greatest male athlete alive, because as far as I know, Bo Jackson is still walking the earth. So this will be Bo Jackson forever. Okay. As far as greatest Olympian ever, well, we'll talk about that later in the show. Okay. Or if you're listening, to the podcast, this will be the history piece for this week.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna do debate first, because I think that you have an opinion on this that is debatable. All right. So I'm going to debate with you the whole moving up the schedule thing.
Oh.
All right. So is this a Canadian thing?
No.
I mean, okay, what do you think? Do you think that we should move up the schedule?
I do. I've always wondered, and I'm not a seasoned NFL fan, but I've always wondered as a fan why the NFL starts their season so late and plays into the god-awful bowels of winter, I mean, New England Patriots, they had a hell of a time in a blizzard 2 weeks ago, right?
Okay. Right.
And barely made it out of that game alive. So
yeah, same with the Rams. Same with the Rams.
True.
Right?
That's true. That's true.
But the thing, that was a bit of an illusion, but.
And I even made a comment. I saw a video on Facebook about the Buffalo Bills' new stadium, and I said to I made a comment and I said, I wonder why they didn't put a dome on the stadium. And then right after that, I finished my comment by saying, I guess it's probably because it wouldn't be the same watching the Buffalo Bills not play in blizzard conditions like that late in the NFL season. It just wouldn't be the same watching them play in a dome, would it?
No. Here's and something like Chicago or Green Bay. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. As they say, Vince Lombardi would be rolling in his grave, right? If Green Bay got a dome. George Halas, right, would be disturbed in his sleep. Okay, you know what? I'm going to zag. Zag on you, okay? I'm going to say, no, the season should not be moved up, and here's why. Because of the weather. All right? Imagine if you are Arizona and you have to play in June. Right? Seriously. Flip it the other way. Now take a look at this. Hold on just a minute here. I'm going to get up the shared screen. All I found here, okay, what I have here, let's see. I understand. I got to sign an agreement to share my screen. Jesus. All right. So here you go. Take a look at this. All right. Here is a list of the domed and non-domed stadiums in the NFL. All right.
Okay.
Take a look at this. Here's the indoor stadiums. Look at this. Arizona, Atlanta, Dallas, right? Okay. Detroit, fair enough. Houston, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New Orleans, right? Most of these are about, okay, these are modern stadiums, but
Mhm.
they're domed because it's freaking hot in September, right? That's the thing. And of course, New Orleans just has crazy weather. So you better have a dome in New Orleans. They're one of the first ones to have had a dome. Now, again, take a look at your outdoor stadiums. Well, of course, Buffalo, Chicago, Cincinnati, because they're cheap. That's why they don't have a dome. Cleveland, Denver, right? Green Bay. You got all the good old ones, right? But here you go. You also have Carolina. You got Jacksonville. Imagine playing in Jacksonville in July.
Yeah.
You'll die. You'll
Miami.
die. Yeah, Miami. Oh my God, brutal in the summertime. Tampa Bay, another one. Tennessee. Oh, Jesus. I've been to Tennessee in the summer. I don't want to play football. Washington gets pretty hot in the summertime. So I think that's the thing. Of course, in Canada, you can't possibly start the season this late, right? I mean, your fans will be popsicles in January playing in Edmonton, or Calgary, or Montreal, my God, in the wintertime.
So the
You'll
flip
die.
side,
So,
the flip side to what you were just showing me
yeah.
is the stadiums that don't have a domed stadium or a roof. Teams like New England, Buffalo, Cincinnati, they're nearly dying in the winter in
Yeah.
January.
Well,
So I mean,
but that's the thing. You live there. You live there, man.
I guess that's fair.
I mean, there are people. Look, I was born and raised in New Hampshire. Okay. There are people who like that, who like winter.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Crazy people, right?
Crazy
Canadians, right?
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean,
Not this one.
look, you live there. I mean, yeah, I know it sucks. Seeing a live football game, as I understand, in the winter sucks. I've never done it. I imagine it must be horrible. But that's always been the magical thing about football, right? Is that you
Mhm.
play it in all kinds of weather. Now, I realize it sucks for the gamblers, right? Because you think you know what you're, and the coaches as well, because you think you know what you're doing, you have the game plan, you think you can guess the outcome, blah 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 blah, and then you get something like that Grey Cup where it's Calgary versus Toronto, and because these guys are sliding across the field, one turnover decides the game. You can just throw strategy out the window. You might as well just bet the color of the Gatorade at that point, because anything can happen. It sucks for them, but hey, that's football, man. That's football. And sometimes you play on, fair enough. Hey, look, I've come to accept dome stadiums. That's a strategy. When you play in a dome, you can run. You can throw longer, you might get more protection, right? Less slippage, right? But then also it's a strategy if it's raining. Adapt. That's the thing about
I
football.
did notice this season playing fantasy football that when you're looking at where your players are playing,
Yeah,
it
sure.
also has a little note there if they're playing inside a dome stadium.
Yep. Yeah. You've got to look at the weather. Look, in that Calgary Toronto Grey Cup where there was snow all over the field and whatever. I was betting that game and I was looking at the weather report and I saw it. I just hammered the under. Because you just know it's going to be under. I still thought Calgary was going to win, but I saved my bankroll because I just played the under. You got to, that's one of the great things about football is you got to pay attention to the weather report.
Yeah.
I guess you have to in baseball too, but it's pretty easy in baseball. If it rains, no game. It's easy.
Because they're wimps. They're wimps.
Yeah, I guess. It'd be damn hard to play baseball in the rain, though. That ball gets, when you're a kid, you do that. That ball just becomes like, I don't know, like this mud clot, very hard to deal with. So that would be kind of tough. Anyway, okay. So again, I say, nah, you can't really move it. You can't really move it in the
That's fair.
States. The only way you could do it is if you play all the games in the North for the first couple of weeks, but or in domes, right?
Yeah.
You just arrange the schedule so that there's no Arizona home games. No, Arizona has a dome, so there's no Houston home games or something. Okay, so finally, let's discuss ticket prices. Okay. So I've got some hard numbers for you. I won't share this screen because I just compiled these from various sources. Okay. Sports and entertainment prices. Let's just talk about sports. I didn't get the numbers for entertainment.
I agree.
But okay. So ticket prices are going up. How much are they going up? Well, that's what I wanted to see because everybody's like, oh, they're so outrageous, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's how outrageous they are. All right. In 30 years for the major North American sports, this goes for Canada as well, for the big four, so to speak, ticket prices are up 153% in the last 30 years. Okay, sure, fair enough. I also saw another statistic that said, based on relative numbers, in the past 10 years, NFL tickets are up 173%. Right? So this is where you're really feeling the pinch. Okay, now, sure, of course, these prices, that's 30 years, right? That's even 10 years. That's a long time. COVID is in there, right? And that messed with all the money numbers in the world, right? But the truth is, real wages have risen by less than 10% in that time period, right? So in other words, ticket prices are going up 15 times higher than your salary. Okay, that's how much they're increasing. Now, here's the real mind blower for you. I heard this not too long ago. In 2025, all right, this has nothing to do with sports, but this will just give you a picture of, let's say, sports broadcasting, especially in the US. 2% of the United States is responsible for 60% of consumer spending, right?
Wow.
Somewhere along the line, especially in the NFL, but in all American sports, people figured out that you have to sell tickets and you have to advertise to that 2%. Okay? For example, you watch a football game in America. What do you get ads for? Well, you get ads for beer, right? You get ads for cars, right? But you also get ads for stuff like investment. You get stuff for insurance. You get stuff for crypto, okay? None of that is for you and me. Right? What's for you and me is the beer.
And the chips.
Yeah. Right. Is the consumables. That's the other 98%. That's for the other 40% of the market. But the truth is that these sports teams, at least in the US, have become built around that upper crust. And that's the thing. The question is always, what can you do about it? And the answer is, at present, not a heck of a lot. If one group of people is spending 20, 30 times more money than the other group, you're going to appeal to that first group. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, do you have a suggestion? We're supposed to discuss this. What can we discuss?
I did note a few numbers just in case I had to debate this.
Okay.
Let me just really quickly go over NHL average ticket prices. I found the top two and the bottom two.
Okay.
Top two average NHL ticket prices, and this is based on 2024, 2025. Number one, the Toronto Maple Leafs average about
Wow.
$385 per ticket.
Jesus.
The New York
Got to be
Rangers are
kidding.
number two, averaging about $363 per ticket.
Mhm. Yeah,
The
that doesn't surprise me.
least expensive, the Columbus Blue Jackets were at the bottom, averaging still $165 a ticket. Carolina Hurricanes $170. Now I also did the same for the NBA.
Okay.
Who do you think has the highest ticket prices in the NBA?
In the NBA, it's probably either the Knicks or the Lakers.
The Lakers were the second highest at
Okay.
$562 a ticket on average.
God.
Number one was the Golden State Warriors, $589
Really?
average.
Wow. Wow.
The
Well, that
lowest,
yep, is
the lowest was the Memphis Grizzlies at $110,
yeah.
and the San Antonio Spurs at $115.
The Spurs. Well, that's nice.
Now the NFL,
Mhm.
the Raiders surprisingly had the highest ticket. Well, kind of
It's
surprising.
Vegas.
I mean,
It's
the
Vegas.
team sucks, but it's Vegas.
It's Vegas.
$578.
Uh-huh.
The 49ers, $501.
Okay.
The least expensive were the Cincinnati Bengals at $206.
Sure. Absolutely.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars at $210.
Okay.
Now, here's where these numbers are shocking me.
Okay.
Let's talk about Major League Baseball.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Oh, this may go the other direction that you're thinking. The Boston Red Sox were the number one
Sure.
highest ticket prices, averaging, and this is based on non-premium tickets.
Yeah.
So this is just an average of regular tickets.
Yeah.
$53.
Sure. Sure.
The New York Yankees, $51.
Yeah.
The San Diego Padres, you can go to a Padres game for $15.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Arizona Diamondbacks at $15. So
Really?
baseball,
Really?
very affordable.
Wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Oh yeah. It can be. It can be. That's the only possibility. And the other thing too is that their baseball is having the biggest attendance problem of any of these sports. Baseball is just not selling anymore.
I don't
It's
get
just
it.
not. Well, I mean, look, it makes sense, right? Because okay, one of the problems that baseball has faced is that they've discovered TV, right? So okay, back in the day, back in older times, the 50s and beforehand, most games were played during the day, right? The lights came into the game in the 30s. Okay, but still, most of the time you played during the day, right?
Okay.
Kids could therefore pay attention to it. Now, you're a kid growing up on the East Coast. You're growing up in Boston or New York or Florida or something like this. The games are starting at what, like 8, 9? And you don't even, there's no way you're going to watch the whole thing. You're a kid. You got to go to bed. You got school tomorrow, right? There's no way, right? And so this has killed a couple of generations of baseball fans. It's just taken them out of it. And, so that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is, of course, there's too many games. These seasons are too damn long. If you're not obsessed with baseball, you're not going to follow it. Baseball looks terrible on the TV compared to the difference between what you see on TV in baseball is probably the greatest of any sport, with the exception of maybe soccer. But the truth is, in soccer, most of the time, nothing's happening on the field. Most of the field, right? You don't need most of the field. In a baseball game, potentially all parts of the field are in play at all times, right? Whenever there's a batter up, all parts of the field are in play, right? So really, to see a baseball game, you got to see it live. You got to see it live. And really, the heyday of the baseball game was during radio. It was during radio, right? Because you had to imagine right? You had to use your imagination to visualize it, and most people were far too far from a Major League Baseball team, right? And so you'd have to go watch the minor league team and listen to the pros on the radio, right? In St. Louis, 800 miles away, right, or wherever. So again, baseball as a sport is just a product of another time. People would prefer to watch it on TV, if at all, and it's just not the same thing. It's just not the same thing. But going to a baseball game is awesome. I recommend it to anybody, even if you're not a sports fan. Going to a baseball game, people just love it. People just love it. And what's even better is minor league games. Minor league games are fantastic, right? Because the stadium is smaller, the atmosphere is more casual, everybody's loose, it's fun, you're seeing people from the neighborhood there, it's awesome. It's minor league baseball is so much fun. So much fun. I used to love to go to the games in Albuquerque when I was going to school. We have a great park in Albuquerque. Now we're called the Isotopes, named for a Simpsons episode. It's amazing. We changed our name because of the Simpsons. Man. Yeah, it's minor league baseball is just great. So, it's unfortunate that TV is going to end up killing baseball, or at least shrinking it. Already it's losing ground. The national pastime is now football. And to be honest, to be completely honest about it, for Black America, basketball is number one. It's not even close. So I guess baseball is one of those games where, even though we're the inventor of it, we're soon we will no longer be the best. Kind of like how the British with cricket, it used to be their game, but now they're just competitive. They're just another country in this game. So I think that's what's ultimately going to happen with baseball, because people in Dominican Republic, people in Venezuela, they care more about baseball than Americans do. People in Cuba, they care more about baseball than Americans do. So
yeah, we actually went on vacation to Belize in August.
Sure.
And surprisingly enough, they love baseball there too.
Sure. Of course. Well, it's summer year round.
Baseball and soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's summer year round, right? So you got lots of grass. And this is one of the things that's disappeared in America is grass, fields, right? We've paved over too much of it. But in Latin America, South America, they still have open land. They do. Kids can play this, and it's summer all year. So it's a breeding ground. This is why all the best players come out of California, Florida, Texas. They have big populations, but it's also summer year round, right? It's easier to play. So, I think baseball, sadly enough, because baseball was the gateway drug for me when I was a kid. That was my gateway drug into sports, and I just feel like it's dying. Not entirely, but it's sick. The game is sick. So anyway,
and this was a fantastic episode.
It was a long
Shots from the Hip. It was a long one. Well, what people don't know is we say it's a long one, but we're going to be cutting these episodes up in the future into shorter episodes of other shows. So stay tuned for that kind of news and change coming up.
We'll be doing this 3 times a week in the future.
Well, we won't be doing this 3 times a week. We'll still be doing it once, but we'll cut it into. I mean, hey, I'll do this every day if you want.
You're ruining the illusion. That's the thing. I'm even going to change my shirts. Change my shirts.
I can still edit this to reimagine the illusion.
Just take that bit out. Listeners, if you hear that beep in here, that's what that was.
Well, that was another episode of Shots from the Hip, episode number 6. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. Mr. Davis, you have yourself a great day.
You too, all you hipsters out there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
My NyQuil is kicking in, so I'm going to bed.
Cheers. Cheers.